The Eagles stand alone at the top of the NFC East. They have the meanest defense, the most dangerous offense, and have legitimate aspirations of reaching the Super Bowl. This is how the Philadelphia Eagles are scary good. But before we break down the incredible path that saw the Eagles reach a 4-0 start, it's important to appreciate the progress they made by briefly looking back at what they accomplished last season. In 2021, the Eagles lost 3 of their first 4 games, and were being booed and questioned by the crowd over their desire and determination to help make this franchise succeed. It was an up-and-down season that eventually saw them win 4 of their last 5 games and end up with a 9-8 regular season record and a playoff berth in the wild card game. It was a game they lost quite convincingly to the Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where quarterback Jalen Hurts emerged as the only bright spot in a seemingly dark space. Hurts threw for 258 yards and was the lead rusher with 39 yards. It was a season of emotional highs as well as deep lows for the Eagles, as they ended the year 14th in terms of total offense yards with 6,119 yards. They also finished the season 12th in points per game with 26.1 points, and their defense allowed their opponents to average 22.1 points. The close differential in points is a testament to how topsy-turvy the Eagles were in 2021. Changes in personnel had to be made, a different strategy had to be implemented, and a tougher mentality had to be installed if the Philadelphia Eagles were to improve on what they built. So far, the team has managed to do just that. The Eagles are the only undefeated team in the NFL, and much credit has to go to head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni is in his second year with the Eagles and has already made his mark by implementing a fast-paced offense that's heavily reliant on outsmarting and outthinking the opponent. It's exactly the type of coach that the Eagles fan base would want, someone that has the audacity to try something different and to pull it off successfully. But in order for Sirianni to implement his strategy, he needs the right weapons. He needs the players to step up and go beyond doing their job. And he needs an MVP caliber type of player, and he has that in Jalen Hurts. The 6'1" quarterback has all the tools to be the next greatest athlete to play in the position. Hurts is in his 3rd season and had to endure a lot of growing up really fast if he wanted to remain a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he has done just that. The stats speak for themselves. This season, Hurts has already thrown for 4 touchdowns with a career-high pass completion percentage of 66.7%. He has already surpassed the number of passing yards he had as a rookie, which stands at 1,120 yards, and that is just amazing work that he does with his arm. Onto his feet, where the workload is just as impressive. Hurts has rushed 53 times this season. That is 10 attempts fewer than his rookie season, and has collected 205 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns. In what world would there be any individual or team that can stop an offense that has a quarterback who is a legitimate dual threat? Hurts will beat them with his run game and can now beat them going through the air because the Eagles went shopping this summer and landed an elite wide receiver. A.J. Brown is in his 4th season in the NFL and is first with the Eagles. The 6'1" big body receiver spent his first 3 seasons with the Tennessee Titans and was an unstoppable force when the ball was in the air. The numbers help to back that up, where A.J. Brown had a total of 2,995 yards, just 5 yards short of averaging 1,000 yards per season. He also averages 61 receptions, and of those, 24 went for touchdowns. But it wasn't all magic and fireworks during his time with the Titans. A.J. Brown did have an off year last season, partly due to injury and partly due to the quarterback situation in Tennessee. Those issues seem to have evaporated thanks to an improved Jalen Hurts and an offense that is firing on all cylinders. That's right, the Eagles do have a running game that goes beyond their quarterback. Introducing the much-maligned Miles Sanders, who has been on a tear this season in the running back position for the Philadelphia Eagles. The 5'11" running back is in his 4th season after being drafted by the Eagles 53rd overall. In his rookie season, he played 16 games, had 179 carries, rushed for 818 yards, and scored 3 touchdowns. Not bad, but also not great. At least nowhere near his production this season, where in 4 games he already has 72 carries for 356 yards and 3 touchdowns. He already has more yards per carry and the same number of touchdowns with 13 games to go. So what makes Miles Sanders doubly special is that he creates another worry for opposing teams. Defenses won't know if it's going to be a pass by Hurts or a run by Hurts or a handoff to Miles Sanders. Not only can Sanders flat out run, but he can also catch the ball. He has made 8 receptions this season off of 9 targets, which just adds to the arsenal of this Philadelphia Eagles offense. But it's not only on that side of the ball that the Eagles are looking like a dominating force. The Eagles' defense has drastically improved over the course of one season, and that is due to the upgrades made in the linebacker position and the coaching up done on the defensive line and the cornerback. The Eagles led the NFL in sacks with 16 from just 4 games. Much of that is due to the outstanding play of defensive end Brandon Graham, who has 3 sacks registered to his name, and to linebacker TJ Edwards, who has 2 sacks on the season. Getting to the quarterback is probably the most difficult job to do on defense because you have to go through a 300-pound lineman who only has one job, which is to protect the quarterback. The fact that both Graham and Edwards have nearly half the sacks from their entire team speaks volumes about their strength, power, and determination. They are both vital pieces on this defense, but they're not the only ones contributing. The Eagles' cornerbacks have 5 interceptions on the season, ranking them 7th in the league, 2 of which have come from 6'1" corner James Bradberry, who also had a pick which he took to the end zone in Week 1 versus the Detroit Lions. The Eagles have an aggressive but intelligent defense that will suffocate teams and force the opposition to panic and make mistakes. It's exactly the type of defense that will elevate teams from becoming playoff teams to ones that reach the Super Bowl. There is no reason why the Eagles can't dream of reaching the promised land after a convincing win over the Minnesota Vikings, where they shut down elite receiver Justin Jefferson on their way to a 24-7 victory. And another stellar victory over divisional rivals the Washington Commanders in Washington by a score of 24-8. When faced with opponents that are on their level or which they place valued importance, the Eagles' defense will clamp down and stop the opposition from recording double-digit points. But when they meet teams of a lesser notoriety like the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's when the Eagles tend to lift their foot off the gas pedal and cough up an average of 28 points. Now that is asking a lot, but there's also more than one aspect that the Eagles will have to overcome. Once teams see the film, they will figure out how the Eagles like to play and form strategies to beat them. It will all come down to coaching at the end of the day and whether Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, and the rest of the team can step up and be the champions that they aspire to be. The Philadelphia Eagles are scary good, but that is just after 4 games. It's difficult to see how teams will find a way to stop the electric performances of Jalen Hurts and to find gaps in the holes of that brutal defense, but that's what coaches are paid to do at the end of it all. They will find the crack in the armor and exploit it to tame the soaring Eagles. It's not a matter of how, but when. For now, the Eagles are the best team in the NFL and are scaring the entire league with their outstanding play. Do you think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl? Are they the best team in the NFL right now? Where do you have the Eagles finishing this season? Please let us know in the comments below, but before you go, if you still want to watch awesome NFL content like this, go ahead and watch the next video that will pop on your screen.